I love how we were like, this should be the shortest, easiest, chillest episode ever. And just by happenstance of the way things shook out, the two football teams, the two professional football teams that are represented on this podcast ended up playing on the Monday night after an Oregon State bye week, after celebrating the bachelor party of one Benjamin Lawrence Sebastian Wehage in the colorful and beautiful city of Las Vegas, Nevada. Ends up being an epic Monday Night Football matchup that we all have to pay attention to until the very end. We all got back to our homes sometime today from Las Vegas, and it's now 10:53 p.m. Central Time, and it's fumes and energy and the euphoria of the random dude named Jonathan who rewrote the Weedham Boys anthem and essentially bought off the debt of at least one of our friends from the blackjack table with his generosity. There's a lot to get into. This will be a shorter episode. And Benny, I don't want to cut you off. Benjamin Lawrence Sebastian Wehage, Benny with the good quaff, the bachelor party celebration product himself. Benny, go ahead.
I want this to be in the opening. So I have saved telling you guys this until right now.
Oh, shit.
But Terry, you missed some spots on me yesterday when you put sunscreen on, and I want to show them to you.
No.
Oh! Can you see them?
No, I don't
like good enough. Maybe
I can't tell.
Dude, your back left shoulder
I
blade.
feel like they're not showing up well.
Your back left shoulder blade is purple.
Yeah,
I didn't.
That's one of the spots.
Oh, I thought that was just a Vikings undershirt that you were wearing.
Oh, god damn it! Can we mute him? I can.
Okay, Tony Reale.
Yeah.
1, I am sorry.
That's okay.
2, I did spend a good amount of time with my finger just on the trigger of the banana boat spray bottle.
This is true.
And I looked at you. You turned around while we were at Stadium Swim at Circa. Great call by our man Aaron Balake, by the way. If you're ever in Vegas and you haven't been to Stadium Swim, do it. We had a blast. You turned around still with the sun in your eyes from taking your sunglasses off, and we're like squinting and was like, did you get it all? And I did say, I think so. And you're like, good enough.
Yeah,
so I'm sorry that you have spots of sunburn. But also, I was not in any position at that time to make sure any protection of any kind was adequately applied to any human being. But I am sorry, Benny. I hope it's not too painful.
I am the person in the world that probably hates getting sunscreen put on them the most. So I no doubt was rushing you in that process.
Fight that one out.
Oh god, I can relate to Ev so much on that.
Well, yeah, one of them is 6.
So bad.
Another one's a grown man.
I just don't like the smell.
Oh my god. It was a great time. I think we should move straight into the bullshit section. As we've said, we would like this to be a shorter episode of the Belligerent Beavs Podcast, episode 113 of the Belligerent Podcast, if you're keeping score at home. Seen something of an uptick in listeners recently. So if this is your first ever episode tuning in, 1, welcome.
1,
2,
you're like a dream come true. Come on, Terry, you got to sing it.
2, just want to be with you. 3, girl, it's plain to see that you're the only one for me. JP, please play 5 seconds of Back at 1 by Brian McKnight.
You're like a dream come true.
So that people get a taste of how that song is supposed to sound like.
Yeah.
Also, if this is your first thing, that's a thing we do. We we randomly reference songs. Sometimes it's a bit of a reach, and we ask JP to play 5 seconds of them so we don't get sued. And
so far, we've only been banned in Russia.
Been banned in Russia for Miley Cyrus, Taylor Swift, and
Celine Dion.
And Celine?
It's so they love their divas.
Oh,
they're white divas.
Man.
But anyway, so if it's any of those 3 artists, we are sorry we can't do it. We'll just do our best impression of it. which is almost as good. But welcome to the Belligerent Beavs Podcast. Also, sorry, this is a bye-week episode and also an episode coming off of when we were just in Vegas for 3 nights, which is too much time to be in Vegas. Benny is yawning his ass off. The bachelor party of one Benjamin Lawrence Sebastian Wehage, a.k.a. Benny with the good quaff, a.k.a. Benny Bedlam, because he's fucking crazy, folks, but also just our beloved co-host, and we were happy to celebrate. The genesis of this bachelor party was actually pretty fun. Benny and JP were visiting me where I live in Minneapolis earlier this spring to see the San Francisco Giants play against the Minnesota Twins at Target Field. And your fiance was with you, Benny.
Yeah.
Now wife, but was, and you were like, wait, do I get a bachelor party for this? And you were like, you are an adult, so you can do whatever you want. And within like 6 minutes, we looked up the Wu-Tang Clan, beloved Wu-Tang, one of my favorite rap groups, Benny's favorite rap groups, probably JP's like 6th favorite rap group, still pretty high up there though, was in Las Vegas on October 21st, the week that Oregon State football was on its bye.
Yeah,
so it just worked out perfectly.
Was when I said, and Oregon State's on a bye that week, and it was like everyone's faces
we're not
were like,
missing anything.
Oh, we're definitely doing that.
We're just doing it, and I booked my room that night, and a number of other people in our party booked their rooms about 4.5 months
ago.
later. But we made it. We made a lot of parlays, and virtually none of them hit. But if you ever find yourself in Las Vegas or in a casino anywhere with JP Bertram, just have the man play any of the Buffalo branded slot machines and just sit back and collect. I should have bankrolled you after you were just like, what? I'd be like, here's $100 in cash.
I told you after the first run on the Buffalo machine, I said, Terry, let me play for you. And I have to admit, a little ego stepped in the way there, because you sat there and you kind of slapped my hand away, backhanded my hand away, and pressed
a poo-poo.
Press deal, yeah, on your own. And I said, all right, you got this one. And I cheered you on as hard as I could, but I don't know why. I mean, my first morning, Saturday morning, I wake up after having a pretty decent night on the Buffalo slots. And then first roll on a Buffalo slot, just while we're waiting for everyone to come down to the lobby, it was like $40 on my 80-cent bet.
While you're just sitting there by yourself too, it's so weird to like figure out how to react properly to that.
Jay, I think that was you got like 20 free spins on your first spin, and I sat down next to you, and so I keep hitting mine, and I lost $70, the $70 that I was playing with. Before you ever lost anything on any spin. You didn't pay for a spin.
I didn't. I paid for 80
games.
I paid 80 cents for 21 spins.
Yeah. So crazy.
Take that, Vegas.
Yeah.
We'll see how you recover from JP coming to town.
Yeah, you better close up those Buffalo slot machines. It's over. It's over.
The rest of us were not so lucky with any of our gambling exploits, but I bought a pair of Jordans from our guy Aaron Balake, so I went home happy. And
did you have room in your suitcase?
I had to stuff them, but they got in there.
Oh,
and I was still able to carry on too.
Oh,
so it still fit. Yeah, now I have. I think I own 3 pairs of shoe trees, and I have them in the 3 sneakers that were in my carry-on on the way home, getting it to rise back up. But there's no crease that can't be fixed. We had an incredible dinner at Momofuku.
Oh man, that was so good.
Doesn't that dinner feel like 6 months ago now?
Yeah.
That was Friday night.
My stomach doesn't feel like it was 6 months ago, but yes.
It feels like even longer ago, though, watching Benny at 9 a.m. just using his hands to like
the
tear
best
apart
utensils.
the pork shoulder.
I'm pretty sure that's how David Chang recommended consuming the bosom.
We did it right then. As someone knocks on my door at like 9:20 in the morning, he's like, dude, you have the pork shoulder? I'm so hungry. Like, yeah, I got you, dude. I have a table too. So come on and sit down. And then I'm like, we both sat there. We unboxed the whole thing, and then I'm like, we don't have any utensils at all. Anywhere.
What are you talking about? Natural utensils.
That's when he's like, oh, and just like use his hand to start like picking it apart.
I'm sad that I missed this. That's awesome.
I pulled out the rice, but I didn't eat any of it. It was just straight meat. Just that for breakfast. Just leftover cold pork shoulder. That was still the second best pork shoulder I ever had.
And then you followed that up by winning the Open at Topgolf, the first time you ever played Topgolf.
Yeah, that's true. It was beginner's luck for sure. It was
was
fun.
You were a straight Weiger turd section out there.
Yeah.
Well, beginners like my ass.
Yeah. I like Topgolf. If you guys haven't been, to our listeners out there, I would suggest going. I had not played golf since I was in high school, and it was
except for Weiger
so
Tids.
fun. Except for Weiger Tids. That is true. But yeah, man.
And we all know that playing on the
fun.
Wii equates directly to success in real life.
It's the exact same swing.
Hey, they have one in Renton. I didn't know that until
Yes,
they do have a Wii in Renton.
There's still one Wii.
They also have a
Renton.
Topgolf. Yeah.
Say,
you gotta go to an unmarked door and ask for Hambone, and he hooks it up.
Oh, I felt like how I bought my Wii in Northeast Portland 12 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever it was.
And then after Topgolf, we saw Wu-Tang and Nas. I don't think we saw De La Soul. Maybe we were too late.
We missed
De La Soul. But they also didn't come out afterwards, like either when it was.
They were like the opener. That must have been very awkward for them.
Right.
Yeah.
Everyone else was involved the whole show, but them.
Wu-Tang. And we've talked about this on this show before. It is my favorite group of indie music by far. So seeing them in person with some of my best friends was amazing. I did not cry this time like I did when I saw Wu-Tang in 2019 with Benny and super secret producer Skinder. And also,
a true story.
It wasn't quite the same dynamic show. Like it's a more like massive tour. They were trading off sets with Nas, which I probably wouldn't recommend for like a normal sort of like concert setup, but it was kind of cool to see like them like.
I'd never seen something like that before.
Like I hadn't seen that before. At one point, Nas was talking about "Happy Birthday Hip Hop," 50 years of hip hop, as you know the year 2023 is. But also he was like, and today's my 50th birthday too, and we all at the show were like, we are old as fuck.
Yeah.
Nas is 50. Nas didn't even look 50. You can like when it zoomed in on him after a while, you could kind of tell.
Yeah.
But
and when they put the video of him in his original like videos next to him, in the live video,
when they showed
like,
Nas rapping at 14 years old on the screen, it was like, oh wait, it's been a long
years.
time.
Yeah.
And then like later they were shouting out everyone like who here was born in the 70s, who here was born in the 80s, and Method Man was just roasting everyone who was cheering, and it got progressively meaner and meaner. Especially when RZA was like, who here was born after 2002, aka who is not supposed to be in this fucking building right now. And like still like 20 people were like, yeah. It was a good time. I love seeing those guys.
Didn't Method Man say, now shut the fuck up and listen to the grown-ups in the room?
Yeah. Who here is born in the 2000s? Yeah. Now shut the fuck up. Grown folks is talking.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Love Method Man forever. One of my favorite rappers of all time, Method Man. We would give JP way too much work if we're going to do 5 seconds for everything that's coming up. But great time, great concert, great weekend in Vegas. And somehow, I mean, I have a beer in front of me. I have the one beer that was in my fridge when I got home. I was like, what's left? Benny is aggressively shaking his head. I did watch the Vikings-Niners game at a bar tonight, and I can tell you it wasn't a wise choice, but I don't know if you can have hair of the dog at 8 p.m. at night. I don't know if it counts as hair of the dog anymore, but I think it kind of functioned that way. Anyway, I did not plan ahead. Great. I'll just start this edition of the Raegan Beers segment. Again, if you're new, we do a Raegan Beers segment every episode, and then we cheers to a deserving party, directly or indirectly related to Beaver Nation. And on this episode of the Belligerent Beavs Podcast, what I have left from Fair State is a beer called an Eternal Shrug, and you can tell by the can and also the pint glass that I have it in. It is a black IPA with what's the percentage? The percentage isn't crazy. It's 7%, but after close to 90 hours in Vegas,
And how many Bud Lights?
And how many Bud Lights?
Oh my God!
It's not. It kind of tastes. It's a little chocolatey. So there's some pleasantness to it that wasn't in the fucking room temperature Bud Lights at the Flamingo that we were just getting served on a platter all weekend. But not the first beer that I would choose to come home to, but no, it's playing pretty nice right now. And if I were an Untapped man, I'd probably give it about a 4.2, I would say.
You used to be.
I did
used to be.
I did used to be. Maybe
you used to be a better man.
Were you as stringent of a score as JP today?
No, I can't do that. I'm like if I'd give like a 4 to like the worst beer I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
My Midwesternness feels too bad after that. I'd be like, fuck this beer as I like rate it a 4 out of 5.
Speaking of your Midwesterners, you have to also account for your northernness. And we do need to shout out our friend that we met from Canada, who
Oh, the show over at the LinQ. God, it was the first night, and that feels like 3 months ago.
Yes.
That feels like from when we stayed at the Link, not the LinQ, the Link that our Canadian friend referred to as the LinQ last December for the Vegas Bowl.
Wait,
that's how long
he did call it the LinQ?
Oh, yeah. He's like, I'm staying over at the LinQ.
When we were young festival.
Oh, that is so
it's got
awesome.
Blink 182, Sum 41, Simple Plan, and more over at the LinQ. And it wasn't at the Link or the LinQ. It was at the Las Vegas Festival grounds. I think he was just staying at the LinQ. He was also
holding a giant pitcher full of beer for himself.
He was holding a giant pitcher full of beer, wearing a Devonte Adams Las Vegas Raiders jersey and a Sixers hat, and was from Edmonton, Alberta.
That dude's beer was sloshing around in his pitcher like I would imagine rum is swishing around in a pirate's jug. It was just going so much excessive beer was coming out.
I'm from Canada. Hey. He was so excited when he found out I was from Minnesota, and he was like, "You ever come to Edmonton?" I'm like, "It's like a 16-hour drive north from where I live, dude. No, I don't come to Edmonton. I've heard it's a great city. Haven't been. I'm sorry. Wayne Gretzky in the 80s. Am I right?" Like,
all right, hold on. To finish the beer segment, mine's literally an IPA. It's just a Starburst because I've had 69,000 Bud Lights this weekend. So I had to go back to something different. This is new to me. My palate was reset. Like literally it was like we have no more memory left.
It's like having craft beer Lights for the first time.
All over again. So if you ever want to get back to the beginning, you just have to go to Vegas and only drink Bud Lights for the whole weekend. I had two high noons. I had to admit I had 2 high noons, and those are also delicious. But
today
they are.
Or in Vegas.
Yesterday. Yeah, yesterday.
I have to admit, guys, I drank 2 high noons in Vegas. Watch out for these guys.
I'm talking more about my palate resetting session I had this weekend.
That's right.
So this tastes all different to me. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. It's floral. It's effervescent.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Let's go.
If you've never had a Starburst IPA from Ecliptic, it is a 4.6 out of 5 now.
It is.
Now that my palate's been reset as a 36-year-old man.
Nice. I smoked one of those joints that we got on the strip, and weird. I still don't feel anything. Yeah. No, I am not doing anything.
Ben got 3 pre-rolls of oregano for $72 on the strip.
We thought we were so cool being the 36-year-olds at the Wu-Tang concert lighting up until
we realized, hey, everyone, guess who brought weed? We did. And everyone was like, yeah.
It smells like an Italian salad over there. Right. Just lighting up oregano.
Yeah, we were trying to cover up all of the other weed in the MGM Garden Arena. That crowd put the garden in the Garden Arena for sure. I think every kind of herbal possibility was smoked in the stadium that night.
Yeah. My video of the entire concert is just fog. There's literally no.
I've never seen a concert like that before in a big space. That was a big space, and there was so much smoke in there.
Yeah,
Right.
And then you're gonna go there for a basketball game in like 1 month, and they're like, "Sorry, only 2 beers per person per order." And no smoking inside.
It's a safety issue.
We're still ventilating out the air from the Wu-Tang concert 2 months ago.
Oh, man. They'll be venting that one out for a while.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah.
And then they turned on the actual like smoke machines, and it was like, are they even accomplishing anything? I don't know if there's any more to add here.
I hear them. I
understand you're a professional roadie and you have a job to do, but anyway, well, all right. So Benny, do you have you smoked some of that oregano again tonight just to get rid of it, or no? It's just
no. I'm still reeling from the 32-ounce iced Moscow Mule that I had yesterday. That was so good, but it was so much.
It was that was like the most compact ice.
Am I frozen in the way that I look like I'm frozen in, where my hands cocked or my hands up and my head's cocked?
I didn't want to say anything because your audio is still coming
that way.
Your audio is coming in. Clearly.
I look so good in that picture. Holy shit!
You are as frozen as the 32 or 64 ounce frozen Moscow Mule that you got at Stadium.
I look like Brandon Miller in this picture. Take a screenshot now.
It'll end up on our YouTube or somewhere on social media.
We have to include the added note that you mean a Brandon Miller that you personally know, and not the number 2 overall pick of the 2023 NBA draft. You do not look like that, Brandon Miller.
yeah. I don't know. We don't know. No.
Can't confirm.
Brandon Miller went on to be a model. So people can get the context.
Oh, that one. Okay.
Yeah.
You do look like you're posing. Holy shit. Now
what happened?
Now I'm thrown off.
Like, honestly, what happened?
I don't know.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
good. That's all that matters.
But it's
a
so
podcast
hilarious.
for your ears and not for your eyes.
Except for the nice snippets we post.
The listener does not give a shit about this. Let's move on. Cheers. To Benny and to Benny's bachelor party.
Hey, Benny's back.
No. Oh, there I am.
What is going on? I was going to say, I feel like we're in enough control that we should thank the other man who made our Vegas trip possible. And
you
shout out.
Tell this story because
Jonathan.
Dude, this guy, no one has ever made more waves in a casino wearing a
red Adidas tee,
a teamless Adidas jersey, Adidas soccer jersey that wasn't any team, it was just an Adidas soccer jersey.
It was just the trefoil logo
with Nike sweatpants shorts. I couldn't get over the Nike Adidas.
I kept thinking they were Arizona shorts.
They looked like Arizona shorts.
Yeah, they did look like Arizona shorts.
And he pulled out probably over $10,000 of hundreds out of those sweatpants shorts from start to finish. And eventually lost it all.
Well, I don't know how about maybe. I didn't see how his pockets were looking, but Benny, I rolled up.
We did see him lose all of his chips, and there was more than $10K worth of chips.
Yes,
at his high point, and that was before he started screaming "Weedem Boys" and throwing them up to us. JP, please finish the story, but before that, please play 5 seconds of "Weedem Boys" by Weedem.
All right, yes, thank you. I was waiting for that.
It's important for the context of the story.
Yeah, so I roll up and I see Benny and AA Ron at the blackjack table, and Aaron's behind Benny, like, yeah, I'll root you on. Benny's playing, and finally he's like, no, man, I'm done. But like within those like 2 minutes, somehow we became friends with this guy sitting next to Benny, who was rocking the Adidas red like jersey and Nike red basketball shorts. And we asked his name. Well, we didn't ask his name until he flipped us a poker chip. Like he was like, here. And we were like catching it in midair like popcorn. Like, got it.
Aaron's like scrounging on the ground for one.
There was a point where Aaron was on the ground digging it out from under the blackjack table. And The guy told us his name was Jonathan. He's a professional poker player. He's from Chicago. He lives in Utah. And so we rode the wave with him for like 2 hours last night all together.
Oh my God.
He was placing bets on just the standard blackjack tables of maybe $2,000 a hand.
Right. It was like the $25 minimum tables, which I believe was like the lowest.
At 2,500 max.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was when I was
He was
there,
hitting the max
maxing,
for sure.
Yeah, he was definitely hitting the max bet.
So he kept going, and every time he'd hit, he'd throw his shades on. He'd be like, "Hi, haters," and he'd be waving at nobody. Oh, and let's not forget, he was getting a massage.
Yeah, he had one of the massage ladies.
Yeah.
and flipping chips to the pit boss, flipping chips to his masseuse, and flipping chips to us. And then I remember at one point he looks at us and he's like, "Man, I love having an entourage." And that was after I was like $50 deep in my pocket in chips. So I'm like, "Oh yeah, man. Wherever you want us to go, we'll be there. We will follow you." I think Terry, you walked away without catching any of the falling coins.
I was on the low end, but I still got $25 of his generosity.
I did not. As I was losing my last $200, he was just flipping chips above my head, and I wasn't able to catch them.
Yeah, you were playing the wrong game, Benny. You were in the wrong seat, son.
That's right.
You're like, why am I sitting next to you? I should be standing behind you.
Yeah.
Then he invites us. The best part is, like, I mean, he was way up. For what I had watched, he was
and
way
he was
up.
wasted, too. Like, don't forget that part of it. Like, this wasn't just like, I am very adept at blackjack. I'm going to take down the flamingo. Like,
he told us
he was
a
hammered.
professional poker player.
He was
so
hammered.
making reckless
we are at the
decisions.
blackjack table. And he'd be like, yeah, like throwing like whatever hundreds of dollars he wanted on a hand. There was no rhyme or reason. Sometimes he would like put out like 800. Sometimes he'd put out like 400, then pull back 300. And
before
like,
he even busted, he threw down an additional $1,300 in cash just to get more chips, like in the middle of a hand. Like the other dude who was there with his wife at the table was like playing.
Oh, they were cracking up.
He just put down a smack of bills, and it was just like chips. And the dealer was like, "Okay," in a second. She was not amused at all. You
in the middle of dealing the cards out.
It was just $1,300. I'm like, how did you come up? Like, you have like $8,000 in chips right there. Why are you getting $1,300 more?
He definitely had a wad of cash hanging out of his pocket, not like just like visibly in a pocket. Hanging out of his pocket. Like anyone could snatch that and run, and probably 90% likely make it out okay.
That dude wouldn't have been able to walk straight. He was definitely not running. And did you guys ever hear or see the Andre Rison documentary where he was talking about like passing out at clubs with wads of thousands of dollars of cash hanging out of his pocket?
Before or after Left Eye burned his house down?
Yeah, probably around that same time frame.
R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P. Left.
JP, please play 5 Seconds of Waterfalls by TLC.
I seen a rainbow yesterday, but too many storms have come and gone, leaving a trace of not one.
Oh, nice.
But make sure it's Left Eye's verse, though.
Of course it's Left Eye's verse.
It gets left out of like all the radio versions today. I'm sick of it.
No. That's the best part of the whole song.
And then you see where this is going, listener. This guy lost it all.
But we go. The best was he's like, "You guys follow me." We go to the high rollers room,
which he referred to as VIP, which is not what it is.
No, yeah.
Anyone can go in it. You just have to play $100 a hand.
And we all looked at each other like, "Are we allowed in here? Like, is this like entourage?" As he's like flipping us $25.
I wanted to go to bed so bad.
Oh, and me and Aaron are like, "Terry, you cannot miss this. Like, you have to see what happens with this."
I'm so glad I went to bed when I did.
Yo, the man. First, we almost got kicked out because Aaron was dropping F-bombs in the high roller lounge.
He was
Aaron
like,
was?
Well, yes. Aaron said, this guy's the fucking man. And then the pit boss in that room was like, "Hey, watch your language. Like,
watch your language. Like he
said that's fine. He said that's fine out there, but not in here." And then Aaron immediately was like, "Okay." But this guy, Jonathan, again, who we don't know, looked at him and was just like, "Hey, man, do you believe in
Jesus Christ?"
And the guy was like, "Please don't ask me personal questions. Sure, just sit down." And I like looked at JP and was like, "I don't like where this is going."
Yeah, the vibe was off by that point. It fell off when religion and blackjack crossed swords.
Coincided.
Right.
Yeah.
That is the best answer for that question. Yeah. That is the best answer for that question.
He kept being like,
"Please don't ask me personal questions."
And so he figured out his name was Jonathan because I think Aaron yelled, "Jonathan's the fucking man," whatever. So the guy could be like, "Jonathan, sit down, play, and have fun." And he kept yelling like, he's like, "Do you like Jesus Christ?" And he's like, "Come on, just sit down and have fun." He's like, "Do you like Wiz Khalifa?" And then he'd like look at JP and go, "Hold up." And JP would,
"We the boys." And then he flipped me a $25 chip. That's all it took.
I was like, "JP, I feel like we might be pimping ourselves out to this dude. I don't know what we're agreeing to here. We might be getting more than we bargained for with this free money that he's literally throwing at us."
Until poor Jonathan put on 3 straight hands, like 2,000, 2,500, 3,000, and lost each hand. Oh. And then he walks up, he just stands up and doesn't even look at us. He's like, "I'm done." And we're like, oh man.
We did see him standing at the hotel or at the ATM for 20 minutes. And then he disappeared again. And then we saw him standing at a different ATM like 10 minutes later.
We made out pretty good. I came out on top for Vegas, $185.
What?
You're the only one who did all that. Buffalo gold.
I did not.
Buffalo.
A great regal animal, buffalo, but not better than
a beaver.
The beaver.
Not better than the beaver.
And the Oregon State Beavers moved up to number 11 in the AP poll this weekend, despite not playing a game. How's that for a transition?
That was a great segue.
We can't talk about Vegas anymore unless we're talking about the Pac-12 championship game, a game that should be on Oregon State football's schedule, as we are a team currently in control of its own destiny. But it was a good, productive bye week for Jonathan Smith and the Oregon State Beavers. They did not play, but they moved up one spot in each of the AP poll and coaches poll to 11 and 12, respectively. There's some history made there. Since the Beavs were ranked in the preseason. This marks 9 consecutive weeks from the start of the season onward, which is the first time in school history that has happened. It is That's also awesome. The highest the team has been ranked since 2012. Last week was also the number 12 ranking was the highest since the 2012 ranking that got up to number 7 in the country. Number 11, your Beavs will be back next week, Pac-12 after dark in the desert, against the Wildcats, who are also on a bye and should not be taken lightly. I want it to be clear: this podcast is not taking Jed Fish's Arizona Wildcats lightly in any regard. But also some other news that came out the following week at Colorado. Beavs versus Buffs will be at 7 p.m. Pacific time and on ESPN. That almost essentially means that for sure the November 11th game against Stanford will be on Pac-12 Network. I think we for sure have to have one more game on Pac-12 Network, and I don't think they're going to want to put...
No, I think we fulfilled them.
Have we fulfilled them entirely?
We had 2, right?
It was Cal and UC Davis. We need 2 conference ones, though. It was just Cal and UC Davis, I believe, so far.
Well, SDSU?
No, that has to be 2 conference ones.
SDSU is on FS1.
I thought it was 2 conferences or 3 overall. I thought we had 2 preseason.
I think we're only at 2 total. San Jose State was on CBS.
Yeah.
And UC Davis was Pac-12 Network, and San Diego State was on FS1. And we've only played Cal on Pac-12 Network since then. So I think the Stanford game will for sure be on Pac-12 Network, which I'm not mad at. I think that makes the most sense.
They should put the Oregon game on Pac-12 Network.
It would be funny if they didn't have the foresight and it just lined up like that. It's like this game has to be on Pac-12 Network because of the constraints of the contract.
That would be the most Pac-12 thing that the Pac-12 could ever do.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think we did learn a little bit from watching other games this weekend. all in a good way. I think the Utah win looks a lot better now.
Yeah.
The UCLA win looks better. I think it looked good on its face, but looks even better after they just pretty much demolished Stanford in a game that I think some people thought Stanford had a chance of making noise in, or at least making it closer. And,
all right, just say my name, Terry. I bet that would happen.
You did bet that would happen, but you won so much money in Buffalo Gold that it didn't matter.
True.
But other experts as well, many experts thought Stanford could make that a close game. And then, like the Utah game, like Bryson Barnes and Kyle Whittingham went into the Coliseum and showed a lot of things. One, that Utah's still a good team. That's still a good defense. That USC's defense kind of sucks. Also, something that I think we all knew, Research Stadium's a harder place to play than the Coliseum. And You're not going to hear national pundits say that, but it's the truth. And credit to Bryson Barnes. That dude gamed out and helped win his team that game. And they made a cold-blooded kick at the end, but I think it just shows that Oregon State's taking care of business, and now they're in a position where they control their own destiny. And if Oregon State wins out, it's 100% in the conference championship. That's going to be a tough road even before we get to Washington and Oregon, but I think it's something they're fully capable of doing, and Washington looked vulnerable against Arizona State at home. Penix
is hurt. He's got to be hurt.
They said he was sick.
Or at least played sick.
He played sick. He's not hurt.
Chatter that he was cramping up in the Oregon game, but actually sustained a rib injury. People saying he played against the Sun Devils sick. Whatever it was, I mean, teams need to withstand shit like that. Like, no, if you go through the pages of history, very few teams ever got to a national championship without one hiccup, not necessarily one loss, but like one win that came ugly. But they're vulnerable, and Oregon is clearly vulnerable. And I thought Oregon was in pretty good command in that game against Wazoo that all of us bet on for a variety. I hit the over. That was one of my better bets of the weekend.
And if we wouldn't have got greedy and just picked Washington State with the spread, we would have won. Oregon did not cover.
Yeah. Oregon did not cover. And good teams win, but great teams cover. So is Oregon a great team? I still don't know. And
I do. They ain't.
JP
the answer is no.
JP does. You have to be feeling pretty good about this, Beaver Nation. There are 5 games left. 2 of them are at Reser. You haven't lost at Reser to a team to a team not named USC in 2 years. You will be favorites in the next 3 games. The 2 games after that, I'd say if we were betting on whatever Vegas was putting forth, I'd say Vegas will probably say we are underdogs against Washington and underdogs against Oregon. But I don't think the spread will be huge. And you get Washington in Corvallis, where, again, you haven't lost. So we're in this stressful ass part of being good at football now. And I think this bye week, while maybe not a ton of news came up, but it's the bridge into the holy fuck, this might be real. And the first step of that holy fuck part of the season is this game at Arizona in the desert this next Saturday night. And I think as the week goes on, we're going to see every coverage of the Beavs reach a fever pitch.
Yeah, I think you're right too. And what scares me on the schedule, I think on the just scoped out view, you look at it and go, okay, well, Washington and Oregon clearly are the teams that should scare you. But the next 3 games do, because at Arizona has the attention of Beaver Nation. I'm honestly a little surprised about how the percentage of Beaver fans that are saying, hey, like, I'm scared about this Arizona game. Arizona's getting a lot of credit, but in the same way, you can look at this game against Arizona or at Arizona as being somewhat of a trap game. And then it gets a little bit more progressively easy, at least on paper, with at Colorado and the way they've been playing, that could be a trap game. And then at home against Stanford, that for sure is a trap game. And but like you said, it's just the sort of what happens when you get to be a legitimately good team. There's no game that you're not worried about.
Yeah, everyone's setting a trap for you at that point.
Yeah.
If everyone's out to get you. But I would say the Arizona game, I'm curious to see how it goes, because it's kind of our first instance experiencing a true trap game. And I wouldn't even say at this point it is a trap game, because Arizona is good and they're at home and it's at night. So everything is stacking up in their favor. Not to make an excuse if we don't pull that one out, because I do expect us to still be able to win that one. And the reason is because I think that Jonathan Smith and the rest of the staff and the players are all well aware of the perception of each of these matchups, and they're preparing their play calling and their team and their schemes and themselves to like avoid whatever pitfalls might come from these perceptions. And if you don't think that Jonathan Smith was looking at Arizona and being like, I expect us to be undefeated or a one-loss team headed down to Arizona, they're going to probably put us at an evening game. Like, how do I get these guys to not overlook this and be well prepared? 5 weeks ago, like, you're out of your mind. He was already way ahead of this. So
of course,
I'm not worried about this game in the sense that I think they'll come out unprepared, similar to how they did against Wazoo. At least I feel like we're lacking the energy. Like Terry yawning right now, but
we were just in Vegas for like 3.5 days.
I'm just saying, lacking energy. You were just setting the example. It's not a bad thing.
I muted myself while doing it to be undetected. Thank you for blowing up my spot.
You're welcome. You're welcome. But I feel like this could be different because we could get ambushed. We could come out with our best and still get ambushed because Arizona has looked very, very good against some quality teams. And the ball just has not bounced their way. And in a way, they're more due for a break than we are due for a trap.
Yeah. And I think why
That's a good point.
Beaver fans are talking about being nervous, I think it's a big part of just like game recognized game. Like, this is the third year of Jed Fish rebuilding that program. Like, they are where we were not too long ago, and he's done an incredible job. Like, they were one of the worst Power 5 schools as Jonathan was kind of getting us out of the cellar. Jonathan Smith, not Jonathan who we met playing blackjack.
We them boys!
It'd be amazing if it was the same Jonathan. I can't believe we didn't connect that before now. If Jonathan Smith was just crushing it at the blackjack table on the bye
You
week.
look so familiar, Jonathan.
You have to make a shirt that has Jonathan Smith's face with those pixelated sunglasses, and then the rest of the team behind him, and it says "We them boys" on the top.
Oh,
You have to do it because Benny said
Just for us.
This is still technically part of his weekend.
Yeah,
So
that is true.
you don't.
Yeah,
You
have
haven't
my,
gone back
my
to work
wife's,
yet.
my
But
wife's
I think-
birthday month includes my birthday.
But yeah, so I think it's more just like maybe trying to give Arizona a lot of respect, which they deserve it. That's a good team, and they're well coached, and they're going to come out ready to play, and we're their chance to get a win against a highly ranked, and they came close against USC and came close against UW. And they've had this circled on their calendar for a while, I bet. So
Yeah.
And it's gonna be.
It's
dark,
also, by the way, did you
late.
see the Kazano article that it's goodbye week?
Oh, I didn't see that. Never mind.
That this is the last week of Pac-12 football where every team facing an opponent will theoretically never face them again because they're going to a different conference, and it will not happen
Interesting.
again the rest of this year.
Larry Scott and George Kliavkoff should go and publicly apologize to every single one of them on the 50-yard line before the game.
Yeah.
Don't hold your breath, my friend.
Yeah, I will. The thing I do like about the Arizona game is that both teams have a week to prepare. And I feel like, I don't know what the statistics would say, but it feels like the team with the more talent and the more established coaching staff would have the advantage there. Just because of the extra preparation time. So I do like that aspect of the game. And I think Oregon State does have an offense that sort of favors setting their own tempo. And that's sort of how you control a game. So I do like those two things going in Oregon
They've also
State's
been
favor.
playing really well since Fafita took over at quarterback.
Yeah.
And which credit
They're
to
not
him,
putting in
he's been
Delora.
fantastic. No, but that's one of those things where it's like he comes in, there's no tape on him.
Yeah,
Then
exactly.
Plays another game, there's one game of tape on him. It's how Fernando Mendoza gave us fucking headaches against Cal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not to say he's not a good quarterback, but it's hard to prepare for him. So not only are there now a few games of Fafita on tape, but Trent Bray gets an extra week. Trent Bray was not in Vegas, was not at the Flamingo, with us, you can guarantee he's
So
been
we
grinding
say.
on tape this whole time. So I'm confident. It's just, like this is just where it feels real.
Yeah.
Where it's not early in the season anymore, where if you lose a game, you can adjust expectations. And it's not any other season either. So we're just going to be deeper and deeper into the pressure cooker no matter what happens for the rest of the season. And this is kind of what we wanted. And
this is the jumping off point for that moment for the rest of this year.
Got to take care of business in Tucson. If we want to, I can revisit our.
Yeah, I was going to ask, can we do our predictions?
We can. So at Arizona, Benny predicts a 28-17 Oregon State victory.
I feel confident with that pick.
JP.
What's the spread?
5.
I don't know what the spread.
I think it went down to 4.5.
4.5.
All right.
Makes sense. JP. And also we made these picks 2.5 months ago. So
yeah, well, we're smart.
But we are. JP, taking a play out of his co-host playbook, picked the full Wehage and predict 42-14, which is something I would love. I am a little less bodacious, but not far behind with that optimism, and picked 31-13 preseason. So we all picked. We're all in agreement that the Beavs win, circa this August, and I don't think any of us are changing that prediction now, but that's kind of what we were thinking during the famous third annual Bebes predictions episode.
According to Las Vegas, if you take into account the spread and the over-under, the projected or the implied final score would be Oregon State 30, Arizona State 26.5. So that's...
You mean Arizona?
I'm sorry, Arizona 26.5.
I'd take it, but I would... God, I just want this to not be a stressful one. It's going to be like 3 a.m. Central Time when it ends.
It won't be stressful. I think they'll get a late touchdown, though.
Yeah.
Not us. Them.
You said they, yeah.
I know.
Do you guys... this would get into a big rabbit hole that we don't need to, but just overall answer to the question.
This is every episode now.
If you look at Arizona's last 3 games, I think the Wazoo game was shocking in the fact that they beat Wazoo in Pullman 44-6. That really was a solid win. But then you have a loss to USC at SC, which was 41-43, which I think is impressive, and a loss against University of Washington 24-31. But it kind of seems like USC is overrated. And I mean, UW, don't get me wrong, UW is a solid team, but are they the team that played against Arizona State? Is that an anomaly, or is that sort of a team that comes out every once in a while? We saw that against Arizona too. So I think as we progress in the season, at least after we saw last week, to me, it seems like those wins are maybe a little less impressive or less convincing, I should say. I don't think they're less impressive, but there's less like substance behind saying like, oh, those are like 100% really quality wins. Or no, they're not wins, but like close games, I should say.
The last 2 games specifically, doing that on the road is super impressive. And that UW game, I wasn't able to watch it, but that was the last time that they haven't been at home since that game. That was September 30th. So I think that crowd is going to be ready. So
wow.
JP, you had to take earlier in the year where every single time we win the toss, we defer, which I think is in general maybe however many times out of 100 good strategic standpoint. But
have you seen what it is now?
If there was a game to take the ball, if you win the opening toss, to take the ball and try and have one of those perfect 6, 7, 8 minute long touchdown drives, even if it's a field goal, and just like get the crowd out of it a little bit, let them know that like we are here to win this possession battle, win the field position battle. And then just maybe you can control the momentum a little bit. I know people are split on how much momentum actually matters, but they're going to be ready to tear the roof off at kickoff at 7:30 p.m. local time when this game starts. And
Oregon State is 8-0 in the last 8 games, picking the coin toss. 8-0.
Have they deferred in all 8?
I mean, it may have deferred in most of, if not all 8.
Right. Well, I think general sense says defer, so that you get the ball at the half.
Yeah.
But
you can...
I am I wrong in reading Dashiell's tweet, though, that Colorado is also 8-0?
Yeah. So if they both win their flips this week,
someone's going to lose the streak. Yeah. I'd rather lose it this week. and then win over Colorado.
Have we won? We've won the toss for the last 8 games.
Yeah, we've been 8-0 in coin tosses.
Oh shit!
And calling the flip. Yeah.
Okay.
So place a bet, Terry.
I don't want to answer this because no matter what I do, it's gonna fuck Oregon State, and you're gonna yell at me.
Do we get it wrong this week? Do we get it wrong next week, or do we not get it wrong and we ride the streak?
We get it wrong this week.
Oh, okay.
We'll be 10-0 after Colorado.
Oh, all right. So I'll say we got it till Colorado, then we lost to Colorado. So we all have a different pick.
Fair.
Nice.
Yeah.
Raegan Beers is one of 2 sophomores named to the Lisa Leslie Award Watchlist.
Is it weird that when growing up you'd see somebody named to like a famous ex-players list or some sort of award, and you'd be like, damn, that person was so old. They were around playing before I was born. And now we're like, oh, Raegan Beers, yeah, she plays right now. And oh, Lisa Leslie, oh yeah, she doesn't play right now. Feels like she was just playing right now. But now she's got I know. But now she's got awards named after her, and people are getting named to her list. That's how you feel old.
Lisa Leslie was on the Sparks in the first year of the WNBA, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And
she was the Kobe equivalent.
Award named after her is for the best center in women's college basketball. Again, Beers is only one of 2 sophomores on that list, which just holds 20 names total. What I want to pimp out here, and what I hope that we can promote a lot on social media this week, is that fans do have the opportunity to vote. You do need to vote for the starting 5. So the nominees for all the starting 5 awards, best point guard, best shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center. But it's at hoophall.awards.com, and you can go there, you can register, you can vote for Raegan Beers for the Lisa Leslie Award, and you can vote once per day. And
stuff the ballots.
The list doesn't get trimmed until January, so she'll obviously have a chance to play a bunch of games and get your traditional media support, as well as we are the untraditional media support for Oregon State student athletes. But we can start stuff in the ballot box now. Raegan had an incredible freshman year, one of the best ever in Pac-12 standards, in college basketball standards. So go to hoophall.awards.com now. Vote for the starting 5. If you have if you want to do it ethically and use some information to decide the votes for the other 4 positions, just hit me up. I've got thoughts. Angel Ruiz for power forward, Caitlin Clark for point guard, Mara Braun for small forward, Paige Beckers for shooting guard.
Chat GPT anyway, for all your voting except for Raegan Beers.
Don't use robots when you can use humans and actual connection who have actual opinions and thoughts and feelings and emotions.
That's the guy who had the robot voice. We remember that episode.
Yeah, we know what you're on to.
Who are putting their artistry on full display for the nation to enjoy and take all of the pressure that goes with it. Never entrust that interpretation to a robot. Support Raegan Beers at hoophall.awards.com. For gosh sakes. Coming up on women's basketball, taking the court. They've got their first exhibition on the 29th.
It's hoop season. It starts now. NBA, WNBA's wrapped up, but like it feels like it's this annual tipping point where it's like, boom, championship, preseason, exhibition, and you just start to get basketball all over again. And I love this time of the year.
It was obviously very hot in Vegas this weekend, and right when I got off the plane in Minneapolis, and I felt that crisp Midwestern fall breeze, like the wind was kind of like circling around my head. And
you turned around, went right back on the plane.
It was kind of howling a little bit, not too much. Like it was very, very pleasant. I was like, oh yes, I need to cool down a little bit. And that very refreshing, very supportive, very nice autumn breeze. It was our man Sam with the Peyton ears whispering, "It's hoop season, Peyton heads." And I was like, yup, basketball on deck, baby. The NBA starts tomorrow night.
Does it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go Dubs. Go Dubs. Play tomorrow against the Suns. We played against the Suns, though. It'd be interesting to see Chris Paul versus the Suns.
Chris Paul versus the Suns will be fun.
Yeah.
If the Blazers jerseys were as exciting as their team, I would be very pumped. But they came out with their City Edition unis today, and they are atrocious.
I haven't seen them yet.
They're bad. They're just ripped City in red and then like
just
weird,
so boring.
weird plaid placement. Yeah, it's bad.
They've used the tartar plaid for like 3 straight City Edition jerseys. Give me some rose print. The tartar. Give me the rose print. Give me some rose print.
I like the rose.
I like the vertical Blazers jerseys, like the vertical print.
Yeah, they're cool.
Because I feel like the Blazers have some of the best jerseys ever. So I don't want the Blazers to go too crazy, but some of the jerseys
they can't. No, they should go crazy with the City Connect.
If you look at Oregon State's new men's hoops uniform,
so clean.
The opposite.
So good.
Ben's reaction to the Blazers jerseys.
And what is the biggest needle mover for the difference of the uniforms?
The crew neck.
The crew neck. I mean, that's
which was the needle of the sewing machine making the neck different.
Yeah. I have several different basketball jerseys in my closet. None of them are V-necks. Crew necks are just inherently better.
I'd have to take
a V-neck is like that dude that's at the pool in the shade with the shades on. With
each of us
jersey.
yesterday.
That was literally me.
Jersey.
I hate the Heat. The Heat culture jerseys are infuriating. I'm so mad that they made that into a jersey.
That and the Los Angeles Lakers Times New Roman jersey.
Oh, with the little loop on it. Yeah, those are dumb.
And I'm a fan of Lakers jerseys. I just don't like the Lakers.
The feedback on the Warriors City Connect this year. It's supposed to be like this, like wavy, like a hilly San Francisco word mark, like to represent like the cable cars and the hilly landscape.
Oh, that's the loop that I was thinking of. The Lakers have that weird triangle.
Yeah. And somebody was like, I'm guarantee it was Worldwide Rob. And he was like, guarantee you some NBA exec looked at that was like, did this come off of the printer funny or is this how it's supposed to be printed?
The printer fucked up,
funny.
But then it made 10,000 more. So we're just invested now. It looks like a hill.
Who pulled the jersey as it was going through the printer?
It looks like a hill that's also on drugs during the 1970s hate Ashbury days. Like, so that's the tribute that it is. Yeah.
And then you think it go down. It goes. No. And then
that sound is what those jerseys look like.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Anyway,
so City Connectors are so trash now.
Stupid.
NBA season on deck. More shout outs, and then we're gonna get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm tired. I'm going to bed.
Apart from football, not the greatest weekend for Oregon State sports, but that's okay. We bounce back. Like Rubber Band Man. JP, please play 5 seconds of Rubber Band Man by T.I. Men's soccer bounces back from a Stanford L. They take down Cal 1-0. And pretty tough weekend for the Beaver women's soccer team in the Bay. They did get swept by Calford, as did Lindsey Bohanik's crew. We've been pronouncing Lindsey Bohanik's name wrong this whole fall season. Thank you to the listener who corrected us. I didn't see any identity on that.
It was like user 2736.
It was like, yeah. It
9.
was like
damn, she fine.
But you're just cruising for another 5-second request, buddy. I know you want less to do this week. But no, I won't make you do it. But yeah, so thank you for pointing that out to us. We also have been mispronouncing Michael Vernon's name as well, so we want to correct that. Volleyball, we fell to Stanford, which brings that record to 0-70, according to Stanford University Cardinal website.
Can't trust them.
That nickname's singular. Yeah, don't trust singular in mascots.
Yeah,
or color mascots.
But also their other mascot was bad too. So they're 0 for 2.
Tree. Yeah, it's a mischievous tree. So fuck them.
No, not even the tree. I'm talking about their Native American representation.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So don't trust them.
Don't trust
them.
Don't trust them.
They look smart, but they're dumb.
Look them in the eye and say, AC, see you later, folks. And they bounced back with a valiant effort against Cal, but ultimately fell 3-2. They will head to Washington on Friday, followed by a visit after that. So that season is winding down. But again, we'll have Coach Bohanek on after, I think, the season and just kind of recap everything, because it is a program that, kind of need to reset a little bit heading into her first year at the helm, and they've had some real impressive wins, but also volleyball in this part of the country against, I guess, this conference opponents that you'll have for this year. I'd be really interested to hear what she's been told in regards to next year, as well as the rest of the
we'll hear more about soccer.
Olympic sports coaches. I'd love to hear from the soccer coaches and hear what they've been
No,
told.
did you hear that? Like, women's soccer has the first transfer portal window. So when it comes to who's playing who next year,
it's telltales. Yeah,
it'll be then, and that's like November 14th or 4th or something. I don't have it in front of me. I'm too tired to look it up. Sometime in November, we're gonna know more.
Sweet November.
Yeah.
All right. Well, JP is dying. Ben.
What? Just two additional things. Just a shout out, and I think it's important to note that Oregon State football landed two very, very nice recruits. The 4-star tight end from I believe West Lynn, Baron Naon,
on National Tight Ends Day.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Baron, if you or anybody that knows you is listening, I'm sure I butchered your last name, so please, in our DMs, let us know how to pronounce that, because we want to make sure we get it right. The other being 5-star kicker, Martin Cunnington.
Yeah, we're gonna go from a Sappington to a Cunnington, and the kicker's Kickington.
That's right, the Kickingtons, also known as our kickers. Huge.
It's like the Nissan Heisman's ad campaign. The Kickingtons.
Yeah,
the giant frat house in Corvallis with all Oregon State kickers.
Be careful, Alexis is going to change his last name to the Kickington or Kickington, and then his family with the Kickington.
Yeah. Let's do it. Alexis, I will pay.
I'll fund it. Yeah, I'll fund that.
JP has so much money from his Buffalo Gold exploits.
Buffalo!
We can fund this ad campaign. Oh my goodness. All right, we got to get out of here. This episode has already gone longer than we thought, which is kind of a theme. If this is our first episode. But not super long. I think we did a good job. I'm proud of us. We're here. We're alive. It is now 12:03 a.m. Central Time on the wee hours of Tuesday morning, and this has been episode 113 of the Belligerent Beavs Podcast. My name is Terry Horseman, at Terry Horseman on X/Twitter, and at Terrence Horseman on Instagram.com, and the author of Cream, a college football Substacks, which stands for Cash Rules Everything Around My Favorite College Football Team. Shout out Wu-Tang. Once again, you can find that at terryhorseman.substack.com. I am joined, as I always am, by my beloved and esteemed co-host, fresh off celebrating his ass for 96 glorious hours, Benjamin Lawrence Sebastian Wehage. Say something, yell something, make some noise, Benny, a.k.a. Benny with the good quaff, a.k.a. Benny Bedlam, because he's fucking crazy, folks, a.k.a. Benny Burner, a.k.a.
Benny's laughing, but I can't hear him.
Benny Bowl Game. I think a.k.a. Benny muted himself because he's so goddamn tired from his bachelor party in Vegas. Again, we went to Vegas. We haven't made it clear we were in Vegas this weekend. Hanging out. And we'll be back there in 6 weeks for the Pac-12 championship game. Manifest it, baby.
Mark it on your calendars.
That's the most energy Benny has shown.
See you soon, Jonathan.
Jonathan will still be there, still be told not to swear in the high roller room at the Flamingo. You can follow Benny at BennyL1986 across platforms, baby, all the social media channels. And of course, our man, the hardest working guy in the business on the ones and twos, JP Bertram in Portland, for gosh sakes, at JP Bertram on Instagram. And he's at the Trill J on Twitter. That's at the _Trill_J. because he is too trill to be real. And you can follow the whole goddamn production at Belligerent Beavs on X/Twitter, at Belligerent Beavs on Instagram. We are on Facebook. We are on YouTube. We are on Blue Sky. We are on TikTok. We're upping our video content game daily. So check us out, especially on YouTube and on TikTok. That's the other video one. And we're trying to just keep making more and more very fun stuff for you all to follow. Please join us on our Discord if you haven't yet. You can find us on Patreon. We're kind of all over the place, not taking any weeks off, making as much Oregon State related content as we possibly can for this super fun football season and beyond, and for all of the winter sports and spring sports to come. Just celebrating the Paris of the Pacific Northwest, the Harvard of the Pac-12 in this last season of the Pac-12, and even on bye weeks, even on super late Pac-12 after dark nights, weeks in the desert and shit against, David Hasselhoff might be in the Arizona student section again. You're gonna have to look that one up if that's not familiar to you or whatever. Just remember, remember, you can't spell chop 'em without hope. So chop 'em,
Chop 'em.
and Viva Las Vegas.
We them boys.